Hi everyone, I'm Michael Short. This is Let's Go Outdoors.
Let's go outdoors where the waters run clear and cold. Mother Nature's world is better than gold. So much to see, so much to do. Let's go outdoors, me and you. Let's go outdoors.
Let's Go Outdoors with Michael Short. Supported by the Alberta Conservation Association, conserving Alberta's wild side.
Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Go Outdoors. I'm Michael Short. Coming up, we will meet a former school teacher who is now spending his time catching owls and banding them for research. We'll visit a very popular ski race, an event that can trace its roots back to Nordic folklore.
Down slow.
And we'll go behind the scenes to see how Alberta Parks trains its mountain rescue team. We'll also join a biologist who is trying to track down the ever so elusive wolverine. And Elma, standing by upstairs with this story.
Meet Mrs. Sticks, a Maclay spectre stick insect. We'll be meeting her and others here at the Royal Alberta Museum. Say hi.
Well, once again, we're coming to you from the Wild Alberta Gallery located in the Royal Alberta Museum. Just above us live some of the most interesting bugs you'll find anywhere. Now, unfortunately, many people find insects disgusting. They're terrified of them. So we send Elma to find out if bugs like the tarantula deserve their bad reputation.
So I want to show you guys a giant African millipede. As far as giant African millipedes go, this is a rather small one.
Meet Pete, one of the bug experts here at the Royal Alberta Museum's bug room. Pete loves bugs, and he's definitely not afraid to touch them.
The most vulnerable parts of their body are going to be their little legs and their antennas and their head. So by curling their really tough, well-armored body all around that, tucking their head in, it's kind of the same as a turtle pulling their legs and their head and their tail into their shell and leaving you with only the crunchy part of the body to try to eat.
Don't worry, Mr. Millipede. I have no intention of eating you.
You guys want to give her a pet? Almost like petting your fingernail. It's quite hard and dry, a little bit waxy.
Look at that. These students don't hesitate at all.
And these dung beetles, instead of rolling up dung like they're supposed to do, would grab the millipede and headbutt him in the neck until the millipede's head came right off.
I'm glad I didn't have to see that happen. Jeepers creepers. There's bugs everywhere in here.
Like 97% of the animal kingdom do not have a backbone. So we're completely and totally obsessed with birds and mammals and reptiles and fish, and they're only 3% of the animal kingdom. I don't think the birds and the mammals need an ambassador. I don't think they need anyone to maybe bats, but other than that, most people really, they're okay with fur and feathers. It's the too many legs or not enough of them. It's the scales and things that tends to upset people. No surprises, huh? No surprises. There we go. Such a nice girl.
This is the Mexican red meat tarantula. The same type of spider that crawled over Indiana Jones's back.
She looks scary to me. Is she harmful in any way, shape, or form?
Well, okay, tarantulas do have fangs. They do have venom, just like all spiders.
Pete goes on to say that the spiders have to digest their prey outside of their body because they can only consume liquids. So she wouldn't consider wasting her digestive fluids on us. We're way too big for them.
There's no such thing as a tarantula that can kill a person. They are quite docile as well. They really are quite friendly. You see that she's not trying to hurt me or anything like that. You would really have to squash or hurt this spider for her to want to bite you. So that's why, they can put it on Harrison Ford's back as he's playing Indiana Jones, and we don't have to bring in the stunt double because it's not really going to hurt anybody.
Pete says he's only ever heard of one case of anyone being bit. I do not want to be number 2.
I've got her in a hold that there's no way she's going to hurt anybody. And if you want to pet her,
stop. Let's think about this for a minute. Meantime, let's move on to the Maclay spectre stick insect.
This is an adult female, so she's really quite plump, and she's ready to lay 3,000 eggs. She does lay them one at a time. People ask me sometimes, why she has this curled abdomen, looks like a scorpion, and that's her catapult. If she laid 3,000 eggs into one pile, something that likes to eat bug eggs would come along and eat all of her babies. So she flings them out, one at a time, out into the jungle. I'll show everybody how good you are at doing chin-ups. Very slow and deliberate. But if you live in the tops of trees and eat nothing but leaves, you gotta be a good climber.
She definitely doesn't look strong, but look at that.
Yeah, just all those little points of contact. She's got 2 little claws on the end of each foot, just like any other insect you've ever met, and then she's got some suction cups in there too.
There are more than 75 different species of live bugs here, and drawers full of specimens of most of the insects you'll find here in Alberta.
People don't tend to take too kindly to me suggesting that maybe they should choose what color glasses they want to look at the world through. But if you just look at all this stuff and say, this is disgusting, well, I see it as absolutely beautiful and fantastic.
Take a good look. Do you see the orchid manta?
She looks so much like a flower that moths will actually come to visit her thinking they're going to get some nectar out of the flower. And of course, it's the last mistake they ever make.
Oh, there it is. It's moving.
I'm just a flower petal. Pay no mind.
Okay, it's time to revisit the Mexican red-kneed tarantula.
I have a fear of touching it, so I should conquer that fear. So I'm just
remember
gonna,
to breathe, and it's, you know what? It's a lot like a pipe cleaner.
with my pinky there.
Yeah, go right ahead. Nice and gentle. Nice and soft, eh?
You're not scary.
No, not at all. There you go.
Look at
Certainly not as nasty of a creature as the movies would have you believe.
No. It has a really soothing feel to it. I could do that all day.
And that's most
With
people
you
are quite
holding her
surprised.
like that,
Yeah,
no?
it does make a difference having somebody, yeah.
All right, so how many of you guys were afraid of bugs before you came here? Be honest.
Yep.
Yeah?
Still am.
You still are?
Exactly.
I was just going to say, whose attitude towards bugs has changed a bit now that you've learned some things?
It's worse.
Yeah? What's changed?
I've seen new bugs, and I'm not as afraid of cockroaches anymore.
And what about you? You mentioned spiders.
Oh, well, after seeing them inside a cage, I'm less, worried that they'll, come and eat me, yes.
I'm still scared of all of them.
Why?
I had a mosquito up the back in grade 2 when I was here, and I thought it was a cockroach, and I don't like bugs anymore.
I'm not that afraid of bugs. You just see how scary they are in movies and stuff like that, but they're not too bad.
To hopefully improve people's attitudes. I mean, every time we get somebody walking through here, you get a lot of comments about how gross and disgusting these things are, and hopefully they walk out the other end going, well, actually, no, that was pretty interesting, or maybe it was even cool.
You know, I gotta say, I've kind of grown fond of Miss Red-knees.
We only experienced a small fraction of the bug room here at the Royal Alberta Museum. So I encourage you to stop on by, conquer your own fears of insects, and just hug a bug.
Well, right now we're going to shift gears and welcome Petra Rowell to the program. Petra, we just came out of that bugs feature. Do you have a favorite bug?
Well, Michael, I grew up in northern Alberta, so I'm pretty familiar with mosquitoes.
I guess we all are, absolutely. That's one bug is definitely on the bad guy list, I think, for sure. Petra, you're the Executive Director of Nature Alberta, and an interesting organization. Give us a sense of the type of work that you do out there.
Well, that's right. Nature Alberta has been around since 1970. It was formed by about 6 local groups, birding groups, plant groups, who thought that we maybe could use a provincial umbrella organization to help run some provincial programs, whether it be birding or plant watches or other activities. So some of the things we do that folks are pretty familiar with is the Bird Atlas.
You also have programs that are very much designed for youth as well, and I know that's a big constituency for you in terms of getting young people engaged in the outdoors and understanding our next door neighbors in a way.
Definitely. Nature Alberta wants to get more Albertans outside and enjoying this beautiful province that we have, and youth is definitely a big target. So we have the Young Naturalist Club. About every month in Red Deer and Edmonton areas, there's the Explorer Days where families go out, whether it's winter or summer, and learn something about the outdoors and animals and wildlife. We want to expand that program, hopefully in the coming year or two. It'd be great if it had more clubs across the whole province.
Obviously, these programs that you run through your organization need to be supported somehow.
Well, we do rely on grants and donations, and our members are just terrific. We really appreciate all those donations that come in and all the support that we get. Something we offer in return is we do have a magazine called Nature Alberta, and anybody that becomes a member automatically gets that magazine 4 times a year. It's a great magazine because it really highlights all the activities that are going on around the province with all the local clubs. Whether you're interested in birding or going on field trips, you'll find it all in Nature Alberta magazine.
You were mentioning about people wanting to, at the end of a long work career, maybe set up a home in one of Alberta lakes, that type of thing. But there are some important details that people should be made aware of when they are living next to a lake, and you've got a program designed around that.
We do. It's called the Living by Water program. And it's a program designed where staff come out and will help you do a home site assessment of your cabin or your cottage next to the lake. And they help you make decisions about where you might have, leave it natural along the shoreline so that some of the wildlife and species that are living right next door to you can be happy as well. So it's a great program to really make sure that we're conscientious when we're living by a shoreline.
Petra, if somebody wants to get more information about your organization, where do they go?
Well, they can find us on the web at www.naturealberta.ca, or they can give our office a call at 780-427-8124.
Petra, thank you very much. Right now, folks, we are going on a bird banding expedition with a very interesting fellow. Ray Cromie, a retired teacher, has been banding owls for years. Meet Ray Cromie, a retired teacher who is passionate about catching and banding owls, even on days like this one where the wind chill was pushing minus 25. Wow.
Those are the sharp talons that get me all the time.
Ray's just checking the plumage here. You'll see all these feathers are growing at the same time. There's no darker ones or lighter ones, which means that all these feathers grew at once, making them a baby. And you see these very sharp pointed tail feathers you see here is typical of a northern hawk owl that's under a year of age. So,
joining us on our banding expedition is Dr. Gordon Court, a biologist with the provincial government.
But this is like putting your hand in a box of pins there. These things are extremely sharp, these little rodent owls.
This fits over the tarsus.
Once this hawk owl was banded, some blood samples were drawn to be used as part of a DNA study. For Ray, getting out and doing this kind of volunteer work is very rewarding.
Oh, I'd say close to about 2,400. These and great grays are the most prolific ones because they're easy to find in the winter time, so it's enjoyable. You learn a lot and have some winter fun. And
soon we found another. This time it's a great gray owl. In order to get an opportunity to see if it's been banded, we'll have to invite this owl for lunch.
Oh, here she comes.
Volunteers like Ray who go out and band owls make an important contribution to science.
We've learned a lot about migration, a lot about putting aluminum bands on birds and hoping that they're going to be recovered somewhere. Looking at plumage variation, we've been able to learn how to assign sex to birds. Jim Duncan and Ray Cromie here in Canada, they've worked out ways and tell whether a bird is a yearling, a second year, third year, fourth year bird, or older than that.
But becoming a bird bander is no easy task.
It's very closely regulated in Canada. You need a federal bird banding permit, and you need a provincial bird banding permit and collection license as well. And that is not easily obtained, and it usually is after many years of dedicated service as a volunteer bander at an apprentice level, and eventually you can work your way up to a master's level. It's a time commitment, a money commitment, and also you've got to be a good birder and a responsible person to catch and release these things without harming them.
And coming up in just a little while, we get onto the tracks of the Birkebeiner cross-country ski race.
Alberta Conservation Association. Since 1997, more than $120 million has gone towards conserving wildlife and fish and securing habitat, creating a lasting legacy for Albertans.
The Birkebeiner Ski Festival has been taking place in the Edmonton area since the mid-'80s and attracts cross-country skiers from around the world.
We're putting on the wax a day, which is clister.
Skiers begin arriving hours before the race starts.
Clister is a wax that's used when the track is really, really icy, and it gives you that extra grip. You got to pretty much make the wax stick to the snow rather than the snow sticking to the wax.
Get the wax wrong and you are in for a long, hard slog. Back in 1985, when the Canadian Birkebeiner began, 127 people showed up to ski. Today, organizers are expecting close to 2,000. Most are from Alberta, but some are from as far as Germany, the Netherlands, and Norway.
What is it about this race that keeps bringing you back?
I don't know, it's just such a good atmosphere here. Everyone's so happy.
I got my sister beside me, I have my mom and dad and some of my cousins up there.
So is this a competitive family thing?
We're competitive amongst each other, but we're definitely not any pro cross-country skiers.
Berkey!
What's your strategy?
Just to survive it. Take it easy, do a comfortable pace, and just enjoy it.
3, 2, 1, go!
The Birkie is actually a recreation of a historical event. Way back in 1206, Norway was in civil war. The infant prince and direct heir to the throne, Håkon Håkonsson, was in danger. Two brave Birkebeiner warriors rescued the prince and carried him by skis over 2 mountain ranges to safety. The English translation of Birkebeiner is birch legs, something they wore, like this fellow, to prevent the snow from getting in their socks. The distance the warriors traveled was 55 kilometers, and the weight of the baby prince was 5.5 kilos, or 12 pounds. The skiers here, who are in the legendary Birkie event, will do the same 55K with a 5.5 kilo weight on their back.
The Birkebeiner is about perseverance. It's about overcoming hardships. If you're skiing a 55-kilometer event and carrying a 12-pound pack, over the course of the day, you're going to get tired at different times.
One great thing for newcomers at the Birkie is that you can start small. A 13K track, a 33K. There's even untimed 2.5 and 4K courses.
Having fun?
Gatorade!
Each year, over 600 volunteers help make the race happen. And every year, it's held at the Cooking Lake Blackfoot Provincial Recreation Area, about 45 minutes east of Edmonton.
You have less than 1 kilometer to go!
People come back year after year. We have 5 people who have skied in every Birkie.
Besides the Canadian Birkebeiner, there's the original in Norway and American Birkebeiner in Wisconsin. Ski all 3 and you'll receive the Håkonsson Award. 8 people will be accomplishing that feat here today.
Oh, it was a great day. Beautiful day, sunny and warm. Great conditions, it was good.
I probably won't be able to move for the next 3 days, but it's well worth it.
For more information on the Birkie, go to CanadianBirkie.com.
The Alberta Hunter Education Instructors Association delivers conservation programs about Alberta's wildlife and fish, which need to be managed for future generations. To date, AHIA has instructed over 1 million students.
Whether you're planning a big game hunting trip or just a walk out the back door to look at some birds, having a good set of optics is a must. Brad Fenson has some thoughts on the topic.
Hi, I'm Brad Fenson with the Alberta Fish and Game Association with your outdoor tip of the week. And this week we're going to be talking about taking care of your optics. Now, most outdoor enthusiasts have a number of different types of optics, whether they're binoculars, rangefinders, spotting scopes, or other. And what we don't realize, or a lot of us don't realize, is that when we put out those big dollars, we're actually paying for the coating on the lenses. That's where a lot of the expense comes in optics, and we need to take care of it. Make sure that we have proper light transmission and reduces glare and has a clear picture of whatever it is you're going to look at. So taking care of your optics doesn't mean using your shirt sleeve to get the dust off or a Kleenex out of your pocket, because that can damage those coatings. And that's really what you paid for, so you need to take care of it. There's a number of different products on the market that are easy to use and pack along in your case. Viz wipes and lens cleaning pads that you can get at any camera store. They're excellent for taking care of the lenses. They have fluid in them, and they also won't scratch. They're lint-free and all the rest of it. I have a magic cloth in every one of my optic bags. They're with my cameras, my binoculars, in a rifle case, And again, these will not scratch the lenses. They pick up the dust. They have high pile so that it won't ruin the lenses. You can clean the optics quickly and effectively and get right back to whatever you were doing in the field. If they get really dirty, what you want to do is get a can of canned air, and you can actually blow the dust out of them. Get some lens cleaning fluid. Don't use the Windex in your cupboard. And get a proper optics cloth or a magic cloth. The right cleaning products and the right materials, and your optics will last you a lifetime.
Hang on to your seat. We dangle off the end of a rope with our next story.
Pheasants Forever celebrates its 20th year in Alberta in 2012. We are dedicated to the conservation of pheasants and other upland wildlife through habitat improvements, public awareness, education, and land management policies and programs.
In the past, well sites in northern Alberta were left to naturally regenerate. Today, Devon Energy is using innovative methods to make areas like this return to their natural state faster.
We brought in a hoe with a ripper tooth and broke through the frost. There was 18 to 24 inches of frost, and broke those pieces up and rearranged them in varying patterns. They've just become mounds and hummocks, which is what we find naturally in the black spruce and tamarack fens.
Uprooting peat moss like this allows some very old seeds to germinate.
The researchers from U of A have looked at that and said it could easily be 500 to 1,000-year-old seed, because it takes many decades to build up this much layer of organic in these forests.
Devon is currently working with those U of A researchers to find even better methods of reclamation. That's good news for caribou and other wildlife who live here.
Arboreal lichens are what some of the woodland caribou have their favorite meals from.
The Alberta Parks Public Safety Team has been around for 30 years and on average respond to about 350 calls for help, ranging from lost hikers to climbers stranded on the side of a mountain. We go behind the scene to see how they train for this kind of work.
Kananaskis 911 dispatch, what's the location of your emergency?
10-4, so just to confirm then, 30 years of age, female, head injury from a fall on grill Mars.
We're just hauling somebody off the slope.
While this call was part of a training exercise, conservation officers who are a part of the Alberta Parks Public Safety Team in K-Country respond on average to more than 350 calls a year.
Down slow.
In order to keep rescue skills sharp, team members go through ongoing training throughout the year to refresh their skills. Various rescue techniques, along with intricate rope work, are all part of the training program. Rope rescue operations are defined in terms of the steepness of the terrain. In this case, it's pretty well straight down. Part of the day will focus on high-angle rescue operations, which involve unique hazards and require special skills to be able to perform them safely.
Okay, they're just coming to the edge now. Stop.
Perfect, right on. What we're going to do is we're going to look at building a tripod on the edge, which is going to actually raise it now, so our edge person isn't going to have to make that transition anymore. The rope is going to be supported up and above, and we're going to have our belay line on the ground.
Once the system is in place, ropes have been checked, this mock rescue can be safely carried out.
He'll go down below, we'll get him into the edge protection, we'll keep going down, he's going to get to the overhang, and we're actually going to see him going to climb up into the high point.
No one sets out for a backcountry adventure thinking they're going to be needing a rescue. But like a good insurance policy, the highly trained public safety team is there to provide help.
Oh, that's so much easier with that pole. Isn't it?
Coming up, we travel the backcountry in hopes of luring a wolverine to a bait site.
Wild Sheep Foundation Alberta promotes and enhances wild sheep populations and habitat through the funding of programs that support responsible wildlife management, conservation education, youth involvement, and the preservation of our hunting heritage.
Pound for pound, the wolverine is perhaps one of the toughest animals roaming the Rocky Mountains. Biologists with the Alberta Conservation Association are trying to learn more about this animal. Despite its fearsome reputation, the wolverine is seldom sighted in the wild.
The bait that we're dealing with is very, very smelly. Definitely want to have these rubber gloves on, otherwise you'll go home and you'll be living out in the doghouse for the next week.
Given the vast range of the wolverine, there is only one way to cover the territory of this animal, and that's by snow machine.
What do you got?
The few things that biologists do know about the wolverine are that these iconic animals can live in very high places.
They are a very specialized animal for living in all kinds of extreme environments, whether that's up in the Arctic or here in the Rocky Mountains. You know, mountains like this behind us are pretty formidable from our standpoint, but really for a wolverine, it's a small barrier within their home range. They're covering vast, vast areas, and you know, in the course of a couple weeks, they'll go up and over mountains like this just in search of food.
It's remote bait stations like this one that will hopefully provide biologists with much needed information as to the travel patterns, mating habits, and the territory that's covered by these elusive wolverine. So all this begs the question, just how do you attract a wary wolverine?
So this is just a big chunk of meat that we're going to attach to the tree up here. Put up a bit of scent lure, so that's just liquid scent that just smells really horrible. So the wolverines, they seem to like it, and it seems to attract them in, so they'll come in and they'll hopefully come in to check out this chunk of meat. They will actively hunt. They've been known to take down animals as big as a moose, but they're also, especially this time of year, a very good scavenger. One of the things you don't get from television is how some of this stuff smells. The bait is designed to smell horrible, but wonderful to wolverine.
For the most part, I think the bears are still denned up, but this would be problematic, I suppose, because a bear would make pretty short work of this as well.
You know, we are going to try out a few different things to see if we can do some summer work, but really, if you're putting up the bait to try to attract wolverines, it has to be in the winter months.
Of course, once the wolverine has been lured in, there is still the question of collecting DNA samples.
So we're just collecting some of this hair that we found here on the barbed wire. I suspect it's probably not from a wolverine, but we've also been collecting lynx hair as well. Maybe be a use for it down the road. So what I do is I collect the sample, we put it in here, and then at the end of the field season, then we'll send it away to a lab to analyze. Just like you see on you know, TV show like CSI, they can actually get DNA off that hair to identify individual animals.
Another important tool used by biologists to catalog wolverine that visit the bait site is the trail camera.
Just seeing what we've been able to catch since we last set up the site. So just scrolling through here to see what we've got, and ooh!
It would appear everything came together and a wolverine did visit this site. For Robert, seeing at least a picture of a wolverine in the wild is a real treat.
Story that I like to tell. My wife is a wildlife biologist as well, and when she was doing her master's work in the Yukon, she was driving along the road and just happened to see a wolverine crossing her path. And so she always holds that over me. I mean, I'm working on a project here where I'm looking for wolverines, you know, maybe trying to get out, you know, every week. But yet I've yet to even see one in the wild. She reminds me of that she's seen one and I haven't. And there's a lot of biologists who could go their entire career and not actually see a wolverine unless you happen to be tracking one, you know, that has a collar on it and you're up in the air, you know, that's probably your best chance to see one. But just to come across one in the wild, you'll do that with wolves. You may even see cougars occasionally that way, but wolverines are really a rare thing to see.
To help cover more territory, the ACA has partnered with the Alberta Trappers Association to increase the chances of learning more about this remarkable animal. Hey folks, if you'd like to catch previous stories featured on Let's Go Outdoors, then track down our website at letsgooutdoors.ca. Remember, the outdoors is here for all of us to enjoy. If you see someone taking away from that enjoyment, call the Report a Poacher line. Till next time, I'm Michael Short. Let's go outdoors.
I know where I want to be, outside, wild and free. Let's go outdoors, let's go go outdoors, you and me. Let's go outdoors where the waters run clear and cold. Mother Nature's world is better than gold. So much to see, so much to do. Let's go outdoors.